Hey everybody, this is PD from the Spinner Rack, and today I'm doing a review of X-Men The End by Chris Claremont. It is a three miniseries on how Chris Claremont would end the X-Men. So I was asked to do this. I've tried to do it a few times. It's hard to do an 18-part series in one movie, in one video, and at the same time, would you come back for each time? So I'm just going to do, I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm going to do 5 minutes on a review of the entire piece. So you have X-Men at the end, book one, which is Dreamers and Demons. You have book two, which is Heroes and Martyrs, and book three, which is Men and X-Men, right? And this is not just taking what he did in X-Men Forever, which was post X-Men number one. This is kind of taking, I think, everything up to, who was it? Everything up to Grant Morrison's run. So like Scott Lobdell, uh, stuff that Joe Kelly and Steve Siegel did, Alan Alan Davis's run, Chris Claremont's own run, and then some of the other joining books. I don't think Deadpool shows up, but Cable shows up. Some of the New Mutants, not all, but some of the New Mutants show up. X Force. I think Val shows up from X Factor, but we don't see much of her. So it's taking all of this stuff. So you see a lot of characters and a lot of stories, a lot of big moments, maybe moments Chris Claremont liked, and put them all into one series. But at the same time, it is extremely hard to do books like Crisis. And I think we only have one person. I think Neil Adams created the dynamic of many characters and a lot of action going on. I think George Perez kind of took that and went even further. Now, a lot of people can't, obviously, people like Kirby. Um, who else would be a multi character type of writer? Jeff Johns, as far as a writer. But artists, I think it's kind of hard to do so many characters. And people think of the Kree Skull War, but you had an artist like Neil Adams that was doing cool moments with very much time management. And then when you see John Buscema kind of slip in there, it's like I'm not killing myself with 3 million characters. It's just not going to happen. So one of the tough parts of this, even though Sean Chen is a good artist, having so many characters, it's at times hard to follow. And since I've done this video many times, I've looked through these books a bunch of times. So I kind of think I kept track of what's going on in here. But the first miniseries kind of puts where all the characters are at. But at the same time, it starts with kind of a space sort of drama with Bishop's daughter, Leah. And we'll get into more of that. But it starts with a space drama, and it brings in the Phoenix, and to a lesser extent, Nightcrawler. And this gets the ball rolling with Phoenix coming back, with Jean Grey and Phoenix coming back. This kind of lets all the X-Men know that Phoenix is here. And not necessarily they are worried, but they're trying to keep track of it. But we see kind of where all they are. But then at the same time, we get it's an attack from space, and we don't know if it's Lalandra or and the Shi'ar or any sort of people, and even hints on some other characters. But it turns book one is mainly an attack on the X-Men, right? Like a physical attack on the mansion. So it kind of draws almost stuff from the movie. I don't know if the last X-Men movie came out before this, but it kind of hits some of the stuff that we saw in, is it Apocalypse? I can't remember which one it was that had that, but So if you think about it like this, you have in this thing, the first one is a major attack. The next one, which is Heroes and Martyrs, we also have Gambit playing up the X-Traitor. So the Gambit is the X-Traitor. The X-Men are still being attacked. It's a major offensive on the X-Men. All the titles, a lot of characters die, and I guess to spoil it, which you'll see, we're introducing some War Scrolls. The War Scrolls make this major offensive to all of the X teams. But at the same time, we have Gambit. What is Gambit's connection? Because it was hinted that Gambit was connected to the Marauders. So Chris Claremont kind of plays that out. And all the X-Men, this is like well in the future. So the X-Men kind of have they all have kids, so multiple kids and that sort of thing. So they're still kind of, I guess, in their 40s, but they all have kind of young kids. Um, and then the third one, Men and X-Men, Jean kind of comes and reconnects with Wolverine and Cyclops. But the major story is about dealing with the Shi'ar and what are their true intentions. And or if there who's the true villain that they're going against. And it would lead to a big end, bigger than we've seen. I mean, in comic books, there's always a big cosmos, but this is a big end for this, but almost a new beginning where Chris Claremont would have had his own new sort of thing to kind of play with. I think they hinted. I'm not sure. I can't remember the series. I've seen that they kind of set him up so he could continue from this new kind of post X-Men the end that he could do from. But this was Bill Jemis's idea. He did want to do it with John Byrne, and they give you a tidbit. Want to do it with John Byrne and Chris Claremont, and Byrne agreed to do it if if he just plotted it, and Chris Claremont scripted it, and Chris Claremont was cool with that. But at the same time, to get X-Men the end to pay Byrne for that, the idea was to cancel the Hidden Years and have him do the end, which would obviously be a big selling. Well, hard part is they probably marketed it to be a big seller, but in truth, it would have to be through the bookstores, because the hard part is the bias is too strong. We see post post X-Men Elsewhere, you got to go to the bookstores for Byrne, right? That's where his market is, right? So there you go. So for me, my complete overview is that it's a lot of story, it's a lot of characters. It's kind of hard that a lot of characters just kind of pop up in the series to kind of have all of the not really Easter eggs, but to find out how this character, that character, Ahab, all the original X-Men, all these characters pop up, and they're all, some of the characters are in weird places and they're reconnected from their past. So how do they relate to each other? So I guess that's a good overview to say that it was tough to read, but then in many readings, there's more things to connect to. So it's definitely one thing that you don't want to do in one sitting. It's something that you might, if you're interested in it, you come back to it, you reread it. There are bits, there are Claremontian bits in here. There's um what can I say? There's a lot of Easter eggs, and Sean Chen, I don't think he's the best artist to do three main characters, but he definitely has his moments. And I think I wish they kind of were able to do kind of a new series or simplified series with one of these characters. And so since we're starting on that, let's just go and see which character that should be. That should be this character, Aaliyah. This is the daughter of Bishop and Deathbird, as seen up here. And this was a Scott Lobdell story when they were in space with Deathbird and Bishop kind of connected. So we see her running. She runs past the mansion, and it's a cool shot. We get to see where we some of the major storylines that Chris Claremont had done with the X-Men and this thing, and we see how she came to be, and then the alarm happens and actually hang her, almost similar to like the Danger Room, right? So with the that we see a spaceship coming towards the planet that she's on. She's trying to get ready, but at the same time, this thing is just causing havoc coming to wherever this planet is they're at. And that almost lands on everything that's out there, right? So this dreadnought has these Kree. Kree, this has what's it, slipstream, and instead of having regular hounds, these mutants are now hounds of the Kree, and also trying to play up, I guess, the Jin. But they have this egg slash cocoon. Get it? It's a cocoon. There's nothing for you to get unless you know all of the history. But you got Jamie Madrox, we got Siren, and they have the Slipstream, who these characters that are hounds, and they have this cocoon, right? So while Aaliyah is looking, this character Nocturne comes out of nowhere to attack her. She's also a hound, right? And she's actually Nightcrawler's kid, right? And they're trying to take out her, but she's pretty adept to handling herself. And the Kree are trying to take off with this cocoon, and Nocturne almost gets the best of her. But at the same time, there's another attack happening, attack in space from these other characters. And I'm like, what's going on? All this is happening at once. It's a Kree War Scroll. This is from X-Men 2 when they introduced, which we didn't see them until 276. So the War Scroll takes down the Kree dreadnought and knocks down the cocoon. And then, of course, Leah gets into a fight with this, but she is a no match. At the same time, the cocoon is breaking open behind them, and it's actually Jean Grey was in the cocoon in X-Men movie, Fantastic Four 286, right? But at the same time, while that's happening, these eggs come down, and these eggs have almost like aliens. They have the sleazoids. As I always say, we're not calling them the brood. We're calling what the X-Men call them, sleazoids, right? So then they get Jean, but Jean's like, no, we got to take Nocturne. We got to take TJ. He's like, no, we don't got time for this. And when they get her away, this actual building that she's in isn't a building. It's actually the ship that Jim Lee drew. So they're getting out of there. The sleazoids are killing the Kree, and they try to go to warp now. But at the same time as the planet's exploding, they're not going to make it. The local stars going supernova. And then we have Jean, of all people, she gets them free, right? But at the same time as she gets them free, she awakens everybody to let them know that Phoenix is back. We got Cyclops, we got Kitty, well, we actually have Rachel, we have Professor Xavier, and now these ones are the people on this side, and Cable are ones that can connect. Obviously, Sinister, yes, but Storm and Wolverine, they don't really have a rapport. But Storm is an invalid or whatever. I mean, something's going on with Storm, which I don't know what that's connected to. Maybe some of the readers could tell me what story that's from, and realize this is Jean, but she's not the end all. That's which hope not. And at the same time, they have a stowaway Nightcrawler, right? So I think this story starts to really rev up now. If that wasn't revved up enough for you, but Cyclops is always at this desk when Chris Claremont writes him. I don't know what he's trying to do here. And Emma, of course, is there with him. And I was surprised to see, you know, um, Claremont had letting Scott have a happy moment, right? He has looks like total of 3 kids. No, and there's a baby, so it's like 4 kids. Professor Xavier is talking to Scott, and Emma it flips out. Right. So now we go to Cerebro. This is almost like Minority Report. They are the Cerebro, and now um, they're going to use Cerebro to talk to everybody. And they go to Chicago to see Kitty Pryde and Rachel. They're in a relationship, right? I think that was hinted by who was it? Alan Davis. Even though I thought it was Chris Claremont in Excalibur, Rachel from the future is connected to Kitty Pryde from the future. So somehow it transferred to this, right? And then none too happy to see Cyclops. So, and then we got Cable. He's taking on terrorists and tells them what's going on with Jean. Not sure, but we're checking it out. But then this character here, Irene, she's like, finally, this is our plan is going together, right? So then we got the Wolverine, and Wolverine said, I can't do anything, but we, keep us abreast of what's going on. Storm doesn't tell Cyclops that she's in bad shape, right? And then we flip from them to Gambit and Rogue. And hard to tell that this is Gambit, easy to tell that this is Rogue. So that's one of the hard things, having all these characters. I don't know if he had captured Gambit. It's kind of could be Cyclops, right? But the acrobatics kind of course, says Gambit. They bust through this door, and we see Sinister and Domino, and they're taken out. So we're free of them, and it sure looks that way. But it's kind of a trick. They didn't ascertain about here's all the key adversaries for this arc. This is a key adversary. They're gonna make it to the next series, but they're the key adversaries. I cannot tell you all of them, but Evil Storm is there, Dark Beast, and someone with the techno virus, right? You see, even though they're making he's trying to catch Jean. I don't think he catches him in this story, but they try to hint to that, right? They're trying to figure out how to save his daughter. She's still in a coma, and we have that's binary. That I didn't mention that. Talk about the new sleazoids, right? And when we talk about her mother, Deathbird, we go to the Shire, right? Phoenix is back, and say Phoenix is a threat, and we have Xavier, right? Xavier, her son, which might be what's his name, but they have things they want to eliminate the X-Men. We don't know why, right? But we don't know why they're trying to take out the X-Men. I'll say that. That's all I can say, right? So then we still have these weird Jin or Kree, and actually this was a setup to get this guy. But then of course they're gonna techno virus, and it's not actually Jin, it's actually Charisse. And Charisse is trying to fight them. She's doing pretty well against them, but this is Evil Storm, right? She had time, and she breaks Charisse's neck, and I was like, that's kind of where I could have been out. I could have totally been out of this storyline because I was a big fan of Charisse, and Nightcrawler's watching over his kid, but Nightcrawler's actually an actor now. His actor Jubilee was an agent, right? And we see this scene happen where a dark character comes over. I thought it was going to be the Fury, but he tells her to go away. And this is just kind of her nightmares. Right? Jean, I don't know. I can't tell you what's happening here. But we get to Beast in Africa with Cecilia Reyes, her function, but he's trying to deal with all the mutants that are dying, right? The mutant kind might become extinct. At the same time, in this Neverland containment, they have Danny Moonstar, and she is trying to reach out to Rain, right? But she's being gassed and held in this cell, right? And at the same time in Hong Kong, we have X-23 and let's see, Monet. Monet is in there. We have this killer, and this killer actually has malice, using malice to get all information from X-23, right? Leaving her a mess, but Iceman is able to stop her, right? It's actually Nightcrawler plan to draw this character out and capture her and interrogate him, right? So at the same time, this part, they're waiting. Oh, X Force is coming. Domino's coming in their ship. They get shot down immediately, right? So um, Cable doesn't care about anyone. This is a great shot here. Care anyone about Domino? So she goes in. Domino will survive. Right? And some of them, but somebody died. The Rain died, but Warpath is alive. And some of them, Shatterstar, Richter, Farrell, they're all alive. And someone tries to kill Cable, but Shatterstar stops it, right? The evil Storm comes out of nowhere, right? And she's tough, and she's able to toss people around. There's a big fight that's going on here. At the same time, Domino takes out all these characters. And Cable's trying to get to his target. As they're fighting, Irene, something happens to her, and she's actually Apocalypse. I don't know how that happened. And somehow, Shatterstar stabs Cable for some strange reason, right? And she doesn't, he can't control himself, right? But at the same time, what happened was the techno virus is taking over, right? He's being assimilated to this character, Technarchs, and it also takes over Warpath. And watching them, this is what happens. A lot of characters die in this thing. So you see, yeah, the Apocalypse back, but he doesn't last too much long. He's wiped out in 2 seconds. He's like, wait a second, person I've been around is actually been, you know, Apocalypse, but he gets taken out immediately. And then at the same time, he's like, oh, I'm not gonna let this happen. I'll take out him first. He's like, nope, not letting that happen. And Richter's trying to stop it. He comes up with a burial for them. Nope, we had to do whatever we could to stop it. Right? And then the Xavier Institute, they are, all the kids are doing their thing, going to school. This one is called Trying. So we cut to Danny Moonstar, where she's actually a Valkyrie. She's interacting with Hela. So Hela, and she's having a hard time breaking free. Right? And we have Rain, who's also connecting with Daniel Moonstar, and Cyclops is practicing with them. They're having all a good time, right? And in the interrogation, um, Val actually starts attacking. So what's going on here? They never reveal what happened. Was it Keo comes here and she's attacked of all people. Storm. This is someone that she she likes, and then out of nowhere. So this is kind of the tough part of the series, is when these characters just pop up and attack. Right? Ahab comes, right? And there to kill Rachel. And other people try to save the day, but then Karma comes over. Karma tries to possess, but for some reason that doesn't work. This is how stories go. And we see Emma and Rogue hanging out together, and then we have Gambit, but it's not Gambit, right? It's a War Scroll. And this is what this whole thing has been about. It's not Mercurius, it's a War Scroll, and it's a total attack on the X-Men, right? And Val is the War Scroll. and they attack the X-Men like no. But actually, this is not a War Scroll. This is actually Ahab. He gets burned to a crisp by Lockheed, right? And then this guy, uh, he doesn't even make it out of here, right? This is Bulwark. I don't know who he is. He gets wiped out by Madeline. Um, who's this other character? Strife and Genesis. And they all kind of have the Summers DNA, right? So everything happens here in this one. Everything. You see this guy, he's dead. They're attacking the mansion. They cross the X out on the mansion. And this is kind of like that scene with Quicksilver, but everyone is trying to save the characters while they're being attacked at the same time. So everything is happening at once. You see, I guess this is the new X Factor, the Lorna Dane Colossus, uh, Juggernaut, and a few others, right? And they seem to be a good team. Lorna's a good leader, it seems. North Star taking everybody out of the mansion at the same time they're being attacked. We see for some reason Madeline's having this breakdown, right? She's having a breakdown. She's struggling with it, and I think this character, I don't get the name, but this is like Cyclops' assistant. She is here, and Madeline has an idea: kill her and take her place, because you can't have someone that come out of their garb, the hijab, right? Strife is super powerful, right? And while they're fighting, it's not Strife; it's actually a War Scroll, right? And he has a bomb, and the bomb goes off. They don't get everybody out in time, and we have a huge explosion. And then we see Xavier feels it. He knows that his students are gone, and Jean knows it too. So that was the first series. I don't know if we're gonna make it through the rest. It's a lot. It's a lot, y'all. And, I was asked to do this, but it's good. The mansion has been blown away, right? Then the news are talking about it. It's been blown away. The X-Men characters, and it's all a part of the news. They are saying what's going on. And they said that obviously people asking for just the Nimrod Sentinels to be on alert. And at the same time, at the Institute in Africa, there's an attack going on. Actually, how did they make it over here? Oh, they fly in. They fly in to help everyone out, and we have Wolverine shows up too. And Domino's happy to see him. Nope, it's a War Scroll. So this portion of this thing is just a War Scroll battle and a lot of Gambit stuff. So um, if you want to move on to the next, you can, but this is what the whole thing is about, right? And all of the kids are gone. All of the kids are gone. All have been kidnapped, and Emma kind of has a total meltdown during this thing. And I will see the kids with the dark beast, and the person who did that was Gambit. He's the one who set up and stole the kids, right? And we see North Star die and go with the Alpha Flight, and somehow they've all dead for some strange reason. We see all these dead already been marked out. And we have Suraya, who was actually Madeline. I already told you guys. She's his assistant. And we have Madeline right next to him, right? So then here we have Kitty. She's stuck. Oh, actually, this is Karma. Karma's here. She's struggling. And Kitty comes over. And then the real Wolverine shows up with Storm, right? And it's a homecoming of sorts. Xavier's talking to Jean, keeping her abreast of what's going on. But then Domino appears. But it's not Domino. David thought he was ready, but it was actually a war scroll. So I told you there's going to be a lot of war scroll. The war scroll got Xavier. Xavier is reading his mind, but then at the same time, he's able to fight back. At the same time, Betsy shows up. Psylocke shows up, stops him, and Xavier said, I had things under control. I was trying to interrogate him, right? But Calypso was, of course, dead. Cyclops and Xavier kind of talk things out, and you see the mansion, everyone's sad. Where are the kids, right? So Cyclops is trying to regroup with the team and say, Gambit has betrayed us. We're trying to figure things out here, right? And she's just being totally irrational, right? Obviously, Cyclops is going to save the day. This is what he does, right? Kitty's trying to help, but she has stuff to do to try to get the mayoral race, and she doesn't. She's gonna. The other person's gonna win, right? And Emma's just struggling. But Emma's realized, wait a second, this is another attack, right? And it's more war scrolls, right? And we lose Cecilia Reyes, right? Storm takes out some more of them, but they're just all around here. And then this war scroll's trying to take out Cyclops, and let's see, Soraya takes out, who's Dust, takes out the war scroll, right? And then we have Colossus being torn in half by one of them. That's terrible. I think Banshee takes it. It's not Banshee. It's another war scroll. Right. So this one is really action packed. And Kitty comes out of nowhere, drags him in there, keeps him stuck in there. Right. So it's all bets are off right now. All the team, everybody's hurt. Right. And even Emma, who can turn into diamond skin for some strange reason, secondary mutant power, right? So Cyclone's got the Henny. Oh, it's not Henny, sorry. Wow, we're halfway through this. So we get back to, see, this is the thing. We went through all this stuff and we lost Leah, right? Leah really needed to be the king. So we kind of go through uh, this character, Heather, gets Aaliyah into the ship and ships her off, right? Keep her safe, right? So then their idea, we got to go in and go into Nocturne's mind to kind of figure things out, right? So Nightcrawler's going to be there for it, and Jean's going to go into her mind. Right? She goes into her mind. Well, this other thing is going on. This is separate from that, right? So Jean is struggling while she goes in, and Dark Phoenix comes. But there's the answer. All they need to do is let Nightcrawler, somebody kiss Jean, and she would calm down. So they go through her mind. We see the recent messages, and we see her running into the Kree and how she becomes a slave. But at the same time, you reverse the angle, and it's Lalandra. And Lalandra is actually thinking about taking out the X-Men. And why? We don't know why, right? But this is going to happen. Deathbird shows up. Thought she was dead. And he's happy to see her. No, it's not. It's a brood hybrid thing. Take that out, and then wait. Gene and what's the name are like, hey, we got a connection. We should have tried, but say we were spoken for. And then, of course, TJ wakes up. Right, so they worked out. They got in, but they found some information that they need. Right, Kitty is like, I can't sit around here dealing with this. I gotta go back to my thing. Right. So we have here Wolverine working out his issues with Rachel because he almost killed her once, right? So we see them teleporting and seeing everything that's happened, all the bad fights. Cyclops is still drinking the Henny. Actually, it's scotch, but I want to call it Henny, right? See him keeping pictures of Madeline, right? He thought he found a miracle, talking about her, and to see him struggling with it and struggling with breaking his vow and saying he's sorry, right? And Emma's still flipping out. She has some injuries, so they try to calm her down. And we have Sage here. So, while Kitty's trying to debate, she gets hit with a brick. And that doesn't stop her. Shouldn't have been hit by a brick because, she could instantaneously phase. But she's like, nope, I'm not stopping. I'm staying firm and I'm staying here. Right? We have the kids struggling. We have Gambit and Sinister because they somehow work together. And this is a big point in the story. So something big is going to happen. So they go through different things. They got these guys. They captured the X-Men, torturing them. See Danny Musso still going through all the struggle, right? And they say there's a photo of Sinister when he was young. Oh no, it can't be. And they go through the history of it. He takes over this thing. He takes this thing off, and supposedly he looks like Gambit. So he's actually Gambit's father. This is the hook. I don't see it. It more make sense that he was Colossus's father, right? You see here, you have Sinister and a guy who looks like Sinister, but he's actually, I guess, some kind of a clone, right? And we get into Sinister's history, right? Got that by in Saga who's Apocalypse, right? Makes a deal with them, mixes them up, and he's an everlasting character. Now he's doing the test on people, and he creates um, I think he creates Gambit, right? So he has it. We see him perfect plan. Gambit is born. Gambit goes through this stuff, and he meets his wife, girlfriend, and wife. And then somehow we cut to Wolverine. I don't know why we're cutting to Wolverine, but we cut to Wolverine, and we got this fever dream of Wolverine. And while he's doing that, Gambit actually wasn't. It was a plan, right? For some reason, he did all this nutty plan to get the kids back, but maybe he should have never brought the kids to, right? So he's taking the kids out, he gets them free, and then we see Rogue go. He's gonna go and save the kids, their kids, and then while Wolverine's having this dream, Jean shows up, right? And she's there with him. She's gonna stay, and at the same time, Danny Moonstar is free, and she is a Valkyrie, right? And now we have a big debate on human. Now, I'm pretty big on the human moments and the character scenes. I am not going to do too much about that. Right. So we're getting to the end of this. The debate is going on. This is probably one of the good mix of um, character stuff and action. Right. So Rogue goes in. She finds a kid. They're happy to see her. They're going to save the kids. And Danny Moonstar is going to punish these characters that have done all this terrible stuff to their kids and people, right? And as the debate goes on, she's standing firm. They're starting to take out all these characters. And then Cable, who is infected by the technovirus, Rachel's trying to help him. Wolverine is getting beat up by the evil storm, right? But Rogue comes in, takes out the evil storm, right? So what? If once Gambit is now turned to the side of good, nope, he actually kills. No, that's not him. It's Sinister, dressed up as Gambit. So Mystique's like, he's mine, right? And we don't see what happens. We know Rogue is dying. She, of course, dies. Toss what's the name's head. So then what's the name has a Gambit has a great idea. Let me put on his face. I'll succeed Sinister and become him, right? But at the same time, Kitty finds out Rogue died, and while she's having the debate, she's crying. So it's a powerful ending to this series, this portion of the series. So we did it, y'all. I'm trying to keep my energy up. It's a tough thing to do an 18 issue thing, but we have Men and X-Men, right? So in this one, Xavier comes to the fray. He's trying to deal with stuff. We've gotten through, I think, most of the War Scroll stuff. There's a couple there, right? We have the X-Men are trying to regroup to figure out what's going on, right? But we know the Shire is coming in, so um, we know right now that Gambit is playing Sinister. They have plans, right? So he's playing the role of the evil guy, but at the same time, all of the heroes are veering towards a lander now. So this thing is all going towards a lander. But at the same time, Wolverine's still having his dream. So he is, having fun with Jean, right? And this romantic, he doesn't do that. Jean's like, no, I'm Alpha Omega. I gotta get out. I hate it. And they're like, no. He connects, and so he'll be back. Wolverine said, I'll be here. So they gather all the X-Men. Xavier runs into Scott. It's a great moment, right? And now they're gonna go face Lilandra, right? So they go in. Xavier's prepared. See Lilandra come instead of letting them fight. See them get to talk it out, right? So everyone's. This is a big trick, right? So they have something, an edge to them, and they talk things over. And Xavier is ready to try to talk. And he's like, oh no, you never told me I have a son. How could Xavier have another son he didn't know who he was? Right? So they go away and they have this talk and they're trying to hash things out and trying to figure things out. But at the same time, there's a major attack that's happened once he finally connected with Lilandra. Lilandra lets her know something that he didn't know. It's actually Cassandra Nova. And she's been behind this. She's the one who's been sending the brood. Look at the brood behind her. I don't know how she connected with the Kree or the War Scrolls, but she's the one who's been setting up everything. I guess it was in the earlier issue that had they hinted at it. You see Bobby Drake talking to Lorna, but he's a little smoother than he was before, right? So they're talking things out. At the same time, then they attack people. They send a drone to attack Lorna, right? So they want to take out the what's that thing? The Stargate, right? We see Cassandra Nova taking over Aaliyah, right? It's like, oh no, you. How does well I guess she does know that character. So she sends off all of these things, sleazoids after them too. So a lot of things happens, a lot of action, a lot of craziness. And Lorna is on her deathbed. But I think Iceman's gonna stay while the rest of the team goes, and Iceman is there for Lorna to help her in her passing. And then we see the X-Men and a big fight between all of the characters, right? So in this one, obviously there's a negative mutant sentiment. So means Larry King. That's a great shot. And the X-Men are having this big battle. Now this is a better shot for a battle. The other one looked like they were all running towards camera, right? we have this big fight that's going on. X-23 is supposed to be as good or better than Wolverine. And we have this big battle. For some reason, Xavier can't do anything against Cassandra Nova because she's just so mean and bad. She's just terrible. And Gambit finally opens up and he lets them know that he's out here to take out the thing. And this character thinks that he's got a chance, but nope, Gambit's ready, right? Gambit stops that person. Angel, of course, doesn't get no light. He gets burned up into nothing. And then at the same time, Cyclops attacked by Stricken Lass, but then Sunraya saves him, right? And now Rachel's going in. She's trying to help Xavier, but it's actually Cassandra Nova, right? She's captured them and she's messing up Xavier and her and Landra, but she has Landra there and she takes her head off, right? So this changes everything, right? At this point, Landra's head been ripped from her neck, and they're like, "Oh no!" Right? So there's even a bigger fight going on between these characters, right? All this happened. The bigger are, the harder they fall. Said Archangel, that was for you. Cassandra was still messing with him, but then we have Rachel fight back. Cassandra's prepared for that. Then Bishop comes. So this is going to be another big reunion, right? When Bishop comes there, he saves this girl. He doesn't know that's his daughter. The X-Men never know that they got kids. Someone needs to explain the birds and the bees to the X-Men, right? So Rachel can't do anything against them, but then Dazzler comes out of nowhere. And she has a huge moment, but at the same time, Cassandra Nova is taking over Xavier, right? So things are getting worse. So as we go, we're getting past this stuff. They finally get to see Bishop and his daughter connected, right? So Cassandra Nova as Xavier is just messing everything up. And then they chop Cyclops, ready to take him out, but that's not enough, right? And Cyclops lets Sunray know that he knows that she's Madeline. So he lets the cat out the bag, right? And Cyclops is fighting X-23, but somehow his blast doesn't hurt her for some strange reason, right? And then Xavier's son is attacking. She has to kill him. And they're doing everything to stop Cassandra Nova would lose Cable now. Sorry, guys. And they take out Jean and Cyclops at the same time. And Cassandra Nova somehow become Phoenix. Good lord. So it really gets nutty at this part of having, but this is the finale, right? She is Phoenix after them. So everybody's against her. And she's just tearing apart everybody. You can't even kill her, right? She's that powerful. So same time we have well, she becomes Phoenix. Madeline Pryor's here. She's the Goblin Queen. Said, I'm Madeline Pryor. I'm the essence of Jean that loves Scott with all our heart. and part that's willing to die for him. So actually, we're saying she's a split. She's the part that loved. This it's just crazy. The Psylocke comes in here, they're hurting him. At the same time, you see Xavier, you see Scott, and so we see Scott and Jean reconnect. They haven't been in Claremont Byline. This is crazy, right? So they're able to get up, they fight, and they're like, we need to stop fighting. We need to connect. So now, if we connect, and it matches the patterns of tattoos on Jean's back, and we decide to work together. Even Xavier is going to work with Cassandra Nova, and they're able to stop it somehow and join them together. They stop it, and Kitty Pryde is in the Oval Office. She's Madam President. Now we have a new future. We still see some characters left over that are going to be, we have. Yeah, I don't think I can list them, but Iceman's still around. I think Karma, Nightcrawler, and all his kids. Emma. We have see Reyes and Beast. We have what's that? Mystique, possibly X-23. Um, Wolverine, of course, somehow makes it out, and Betsy, Bishop, and I don't know if that's Leah, but it should be. So we have a new start with Kitty as president. So that was the end. So I did it. I finally got through it. X-Men: The End by Chris Claremont. The 18 issue, 3 million characters. That was the toughest thing I've ever done. I attempted this like 4 times. I don't know if this one's gonna make it up, but this is my attempt. At least you got the first 4 to 5 minutes of getting a review. All right, Spinnerack is out, everyone.